Joining me now, the founder and chairman of Highclere Castle Spirits, Adam von Gootkin. Adam, great to see you again.
Great to see you again too, Rick. How are you doing?
I'm great. A Gallup poll in August found 54% of Americans said they drink alcohol. That's the lowest level ever recorded by Gallup, dating back to 1939. And in the meantime, the latest figures show only a quarter of Gen Zers drink. Your thoughts on those numbers?
Yeah, things are definitely shifting in the industry. The last couple of years has been quite interesting since COVID, really, where these new trends have taken over. Internationally, actually, spirit consumption is down. Many producers are struggling around the world. Many of our competitors, the very big brands that we all know from the back bars of restaurants, are seeing major layoffs. Volumes are down, but people are drinking smarter and they're drinking higher quality spirits. That's what we're seeing. So while volumes overall are down, the quality is going up, especially in categories like gin and tequila. So I think there's something happening culturally where Gen Zers are really consuming smartly, whereas they care about the provenance of products. They care about the terroir, the heritage. They want to know what they're putting in their bodies. And they are consuming more responsibly than generations in the past have.
See, now I would have thought that the pandemic would have created a whole generation of alcoholics because they're stuck inside for the most part. And what else are they going to do but drink? But it sounds like the opposite happened. Maybe they were getting in shape. I don't know. But do you think Gen Z's drinking habits are a rejection of past social norms and what used to be acceptable for alcohol consumption? I mean, how do we explain this?
Well, I think, we all recall the days in the 90s and maybe 2000s or 80s where you'd go out with some friends to a bar and you'd have some shots and you'd stand there at the bar and you'd kind of pound it back and you drank to excess. And I think in a way, the Gen Z are smart because what they're prioritizing is going out with friends, having a meaningful moment, having maybe one or two or three cocktails with a designated driver. And it's more for them about the experience, and what they're eating or what they're drinking is really important to them too. And we can't forget that this generation is having a bit of a struggle economically. I mean, a lot of these young adults are still at home with parents. They're having challenges getting a career path or well-paid jobs. So the economy of the world is kind of changing too. But when they are drinking, they're not afraid to spend up and they're trading up and they want to know, what am I drinking? Why drink this? I don't want to drink what my grandparents or my parents drank. I want to drink this spirit with story behind it, with quality behind it. Who are the people behind it?
Well, obviously, fewer drinkers and people drinking less is going to affect your business, and you're a gin producer. So I'm guessing that Gen Z's drinking habits have changed your company's marketing strategy somewhat. Are you now appealing to those more discerning consumers?
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, not really. In fact, what we're doing is doubling down on the strategy we already have for our Highclere Castle Gin, in that it's always been a story of history and heritage. We've always celebrated. I mean, what drew me to Highclere Castle, which many of your viewers would know from Downton Abbey, what drew me there to begin with is the estate and the fact that they're still farming it and that all the ingredients we need for the gin is there. So through the production of our gin and the marketing of it, we're supporting farmers. We're supporting heritage and history of Highclere's ancient estate. I mean, the lavender we use in our gin is over 400 years old, or 900 years old, in fact. And so, this is about the whole picture, the holistic picture of what does it take to build a luxury quality product these days? And how authentic and how honest are you about sustainability, about how you're going about bringing that product to market? So from my perspective, we're just doing what we've done the last 5 years that the gin has been out. And I think that's why we're winning. I think it's the big kind of the fast food spirits now that really have to think about how are we telling the story of the brand? Because I'll admit there's many major brands out there that I won't name, but you and I would know if I said, where I don't know what the story is behind that brand. And I think that's the challenge that Gen Zs are having.
Yeah, so it sounds like luxury is the key word there, and good for you. You're already producing for that crew. Looking to the future, should we expect that these sophisticated drinking habits from Gen Z and others will permanently shake up the way distillers are making and marketing their products?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I mean, look, Gen Z is the future consumer of America, right? So we have to listen and we have to pay attention to What are they sensitive about, and what do they care about? But I think there's something else going on too that's kind of interesting, and that's cyclical trends. I mean, the whole entire spirit industry, the wine industry, the beer industry is looking at this very carefully. Since marijuana began to be legalized, since there have been mushroom infused drinks and CBD infused drinks, all of these things have had an impact on the alcohol beverage industry. We don't know what that's going to look like truly in 3 or 4 years. I mean, 3 years ago, the big rage was marijuana infused, ready to drink cocktails in a can. Well, now all these studies are coming out that marijuana is, in fact, maybe very, very bad for the brain, far worse than alcohol. And that's new science. So I think it's gonna depend on kind of the maturity on how Gen Z evolves and how they mature. But at the end of the day, I'm confident that there's always going to be room in the market globally and throughout America, and appreciation for the artisans and craftsmen and craftswomen that make fine wines, fine spirits, and there's always room for a delicious cocktail or a martini.
Well, I'm glad you're going to keep doing what you're doing, Adam von Gootkin, and I look forward to having some of that High Clear Castle gin myself one of these days. Thanks very much for joining the show.
Always glad to join you.